whispers at 3 a.m. Are you ready to uncover the truth and strengthen your English at the same time? Turn the page, but be careful. Some whispers never fade. What if the whispers you hear at night are real? Calling your name, revealing secrets you should never know. Whispers at 3 a.m. is a psychological thriller that will pull you into a world of mystery and fear. This story is written in simple English, making it easy for beginners to read and learn. With each chapter, you will improve your vocabulary and understanding without even realizing it. Chapter 11. The Shadow Returns. That night, I did not sleep. I sat on my bed with the lights on, holding Emily's journal in my hands. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined her standing in my room, whispering my name, begging for help. The apartment felt colder than usual. The air was heavy, and I could feel a strange pressure around me. I checked my phone. It was 2:59 a.m. I took a deep breath, waiting. Then, at exactly 3 a.m., I heard it again. Ethan, help me. The voice was clearer this time. It was no longer just a whisper. It sounded desperate, as if someone was standing right beside me, begging me to listen. I turned my head slowly toward the bedroom door, and I saw it. The shadow was there again. It was standing inside my room now, near the foot of my bed. It was taller than before, its shape even darker, and I could feel its presence filling the entire room. I wanted to move. I wanted to run, but my body would not listen. Then, for the first time, the whisper changed. It was no longer saying my name. It said something else. It is coming. My breath stopped. The lights in my room flickered, and the shadow disappeared. Chapter 12. The Warning in the Mirror. I sat in my bed, breathing heavily. My whole body was covered in sweat, but the room was freezing cold. My hands were shaking, and my heart was pounding so hard that I thought it would burst. The shadow had been inside my room, and this time the whisper had changed. It is coming. I did not know what that meant, but I knew one thing for sure. Whatever had happened to Emily was now happening to me. I stood up slowly and walked to the bathroom. I needed to calm myself down. I turned on the light and splashed cold water on my face. I kept telling myself that I was safe, that I was still here, that nothing had happened yet. Then I looked up at the mirror, and I saw her, Emily. She was standing behind me. Her face was pale, her eyes were dark, and her lips were moving. She was whispering something, but I could not hear her. Her hands were raised, as if she was trying to warn me. I turned around quickly, but there was no one there. When I looked back at the mirror, she was gone. But there was something new written on the glass. A single word, written in the fog on the mirror. Run. Chapter 13. The Hidden Room. I knew that I could not keep ignoring this. Emily was trying to tell me something. She was warning me. I had to listen. I took Emily's journal and started reading it again, hoping to find something I had missed. I turned the pages carefully, reading every word, trying to understand what she had been trying to say. Then I saw it. A small note at the bottom of one of the pages. There is something hidden beneath the floor. My breath caught in my throat. I ran to my bedroom and dropped to my knees. I moved the furniture aside and started knocking on the wooden floor. After a few minutes, I heard a different sound, hollow, as if something was beneath it. With shaking hands, I pulled up the wooden planks, and underneath I found a trapdoor. Chapter 14. The Forgotten Place. I stared at the trapdoor for a long time. My mind was telling me to close it and forget that I had ever found it, but I knew that I could not do that. Emily had found this place before she disappeared, and now I had found it too. I reached for the handle and pulled the trapdoor open. A cold gust of air rushed out, and a damp, musty smell filled the room. I pointed my phone's flashlight into the darkness. There was a small staircase leading down. I swallowed hard and took the first step. The air became colder as I moved deeper. The walls were made of old bricks, and the floor was covered in dust. It looked like this place had been hidden for years. Then I saw something that made my blood freeze. A single chair sat in the middle of the room, and on the wall behind it, words were scratched into the bricks. It took her. I turned around quickly, ready to run back upstairs. But then I heard it, a soft whisper right next to my ear. It is still here. Chapter 15. The Shadow's Touch. I ran up the stairs as fast as I could, slamming the trap door shut behind me. My breathing was heavy, and my hands were shaking. I felt like something had followed me up from the darkness below. The apartment was silent, too silent. I grabbed my phone and checked the time. I closed my eyes, knowing what was about to happen. Then, exactly at 3 a.m., the air turned freezing cold, and I felt it. A hand, a cold, invisible hand touching my shoulder. I turned around in terror, and standing in front of me was the shadow. But this time, it did not disappear. It reached out, and everything went dark. Chapter 16. The Endless Nightmare. I woke up lying on my bed. My head was spinning, and my body felt heavy. The apartment was silent again. The clock on the wall said 7 a.m. Had it been a dream? I sat up slowly, trying to understand what had happened. My body felt sore, and my mind was filled with confusion. But when I looked down at my arm, my breath caught in my throat. There were bruises, dark bruises in the shape of fingers. Something had grabbed me. I jumped out of bed and ran to the mirror. My face was pale, and my eyes were filled with fear. Then, behind me, in the reflection. Chapter 17. The Final Warning. I backed away from the mirror, staring at the open trapdoor. My whole body was shaking, and my breath was uneven. Emily had tried to warn me. She had left messages. She had written about the whispers. She had disappeared, but she was still here. I could feel her presence. She was trapped, and now I was next. The air grew colder, and I felt a heavy presence around me. Then I heard it. Not just a whisper this time. A voice, loud, clear. Get out. Chapter 18. The Escape. I grabbed my phone and ran for the door. My heart was racing, and my mind was screaming at me to get out. The air was freezing, and I felt something closing in around me. I reached the front door and pulled it open. The hallway was empty. I ran outside, not stopping until I was far away from the building. I turned back, staring up at my apartment window, and in the darkness, I saw it, the shadow, standing there, watching me. Chapter 19. The Last Goodbye. I never went back to that apartment. I left everything behind, the furniture, the clothes, the memories, but I took one thing with me, Emily's journal. I read it one last time before I burned it, before I let her go. And as the pages turned to ash, I heard one final whisper, "Thank you." Chapter 20. The New Tenant. Months passed. I tried to move on. I told myself that it was over. But one night, I saw a news report. A new tenant had moved into my old apartment. A young man. He had called the police. He had said that he was hearing whispers. And just like Emily, the next night, he was gone. Forever. The end.